For more than 40 years, Heesen has pursued a consistent mission of creating extraordinary superyachts that push the boundaries of design, speed, and efficiency. But with Project Cosmos, they went all out. By the time she's ready for delivery in the spring of 2022, she'll be the fastest and largest aluminium superyacht in the world.
I remember the moment that Mark Cavendish, our sales director, asked me if we could build full aluminium capable of 29 knots. Obviously the answer is yes, but you know that as an organization you need to tick all the boxes, as well as on the production side and on the engineering side, to deliver what we have agreed to the client.
We used to build 50-55 meter boats. We did of course Galactica Supernova, 70 meter, but this is not only 10 meters longer, this is completely different.
I can tell you that the length is increased by only 14%, but the total volume of the ship is increased by 50%.
In way of hull construction, in way of hull shape, in way of dimensions, in way of the propulsion system. There are quite some challenging aspects in it.
We quickly realized that this will be the largest and maybe also the most complex Heesen built up to date, and maybe which will ever be built, because they're really reaching their maximum size at this moment. So that put an extra layer on top of the project. It makes it even more interesting to be involved in that.
The difference on this project is that it's obviously the fastest and largest all-aluminium boat. So working with aluminium is a different method to working with steel, for example. So I think obviously the Heesen team are very familiar with working with aluminium, so it's been a learning curve for us as well.
Well, in order to get the speed, we had to install 4 20-cylinder engines of together 14,000 kilowatts, and those 4 engines are driving 2 controllable pitch propellers with a diameter of 2.8 meter.
What makes this project very special is the combination of the size of the project as well as the technology that goes with it. The combination of both by raising the bar and challenge our teams, our technical teams as well as our production teams. That's where the challenge is in this project in relation to the shipyard.
With high-speed performance a key objective of the project, weight reduction was a major consideration during the design and development process. All aluminium yachts of this size are very rare, but there was good reason for choosing aluminium as the construction material instead of the more usual steel. It meant a weight saving of about 150 tons, which is equivalent to 6 or 7 knots of top speed.
The first choice of material for this hull was aluminium. Then an aluminium hull is about half the weight of a steel hull. On each boat you have bending forces, and if you make a boat longer, then the bending forces increase exponentially. The risk would be of too high bending forces is that, for example, the middle of the ship is in a wave crest, and the forward and the aft end of the boat are in a high wave, and then the boat wants to break in two.
That's why we introduced the backbone. That's to increase the moment of inertia and to ensure that the stresses in the hull are not becoming too big.
It was in May 2018 that we took her to the Towing Tank Institute in Southampton, where we first did the resistance runs in a very long, narrow towing tank. After that, the most exciting part of the tank tests started in the ocean basin, where we have wave makers in the tank, And there you can really see for the first time the model going through the waves at all different wave heights and speeds. We could really see that the boat was really performing well in wave conditions. It's in the tank the first time that you see it, how waves are coming over, how spray is being thrown away by the bow, and that the deck stays dry in pretty high wave conditions.
The owner's team chose to engage London-based Winch Design for the exterior styling and general arrangement.
So the client had a very specific wish list, and we had a very strong brief from the start. And the owner has a lot of experience, so it's a very pragmatic approach to the design because he knows what he wants. So in terms of the creative process, we begun with some very loose sketches based on the hull. One of the owner's requests was having a fully certified helipad on the bow, which gave us quite a few parameters to work with, which pretty much gave us quite a long bow, which helps the boat look fast. It's got more of the proportions of a sports car. That was, obviously a big factor in the design.
A fully certified helipad was a requirement from the start, but faced with the need for a long, flat foredeck, the design team had to come up with ways of putting it to good use when not used for helicopter operations. To create a comfortable relaxation spot, a pair of concealed corner sofas rise out of the deck after the landing circle. And in the bow, a large projection screen can be raised to transform the area into an outdoor cinema after dark. For the interior styling, Heesen recommended Sino Yacht Architecture and Design, a Dutch studio that was well known to both the shipyard and the owner. However, Project Cosmos pushed the highly experienced team of designers to the very limit.
Yes, very lively. I know exactly where I was when the owner's representative bumped into me in the Monaco Yacht Show 2017. And he mentioned very briefly, between a couple of sentences, hey, we're going to do a new project and you'll be the interior designer and you will hear from us later. I immediately said yes, because it was a great opportunity to work with Heesen again and to extend our work relationship with them. So with Cosmos, Heesen raised the bar again. Do 30 knots, 80 meters, full aluminium construction. So that means lightweight, complex engineering, and that reflects to the interior. We had to be very careful with the marble selections. We have to be very careful with the amount of space we could use in especially the lower deck areas, because the construction in the hull is quite strong and quite present. So that causes some interesting challenges. On one hand, you have the owner's representative who really wants to maximize his interior space. On the other hand, we have the construction department from Heesen who says, well, that construction needs to be as big as it is and in the position where it is. So that's like always a little game we have to play with all the parties on board. And that makes a project like this challenging.
They started off by studying the general arrangement using 3D visualizations to figure out how guests move between spaces. The idea was to find the most logical layout in order to optimize the circulation flow. Sino and Heesen's in-house team then worked through the interior cabin by cabin. No easy task in a yacht with 580 square meters of guest spaces spread over 3 decks, not to mention another 257 square meters of crew accommodation.
The owner's briefing for Cosmos was that he wanted a light, inviting interior. Soft, tangent materials you could touch and you could feel the comfort of. That was really the core of the briefing of Cosmos. You can see that in the stairwell, which almost feels like inside of a shell, of a snail shell. But also in the ceiling panels, which are constructed out of crystal glass. They're in the ceiling, and they have a pattern of the St. Jacob shell. Next to that, he wanted to have a touch of color. So we did that by implementing different tones of blues and green aqua blues into the yacht.
Sino created a cool, classic, contemporary look with colors and materials inspired by nature, and a level of detail not found in even the finest residential properties.
So with Cosmos we have an opportunity to really raise the bar also in the interior. We know each other's limitations very well. We know where we have to challenge each other and where we can challenge each other. So in that respect, this project is really a step up compared to the previous project we did to do Cosmos.
From this project I learned that anything is possible. We have a great team at Heesen with all knowledge to make such a project work. But maybe even more important is that we have a demanding client that pushes us to the limits and orders such a yacht.
Most of the challenges is of course the aluminium building of a yacht of 80 meters. It's enormous. If you look at the sizes of the plates, the thickness of the plates, it's a lot of welding.
The size of the 80 meter makes this operation very special.
Obviously there were a lot of safety risks involved.
We cannot compare it to other yachts we ever built before.